Now, being in New Zealand, this is quite an appropriate one because it's called the Four Seasons. Okay, so have your feet roughly shoulder width apart, shoulders nice and relaxed, and your hands will be palmed up. And what I want you to do first is to take 3 nice deep breaths. So breathing in through your nose, and then open your mouth and breathe out. Breathing in. And then as you breathe out, just allow your muscles to relax, ready for ease of movement. And then a third, even deeper, slower breath in. And then as you breathe out, just allow yourself to let go. Now just imagine that in your hands, you've got a seed, lovely seed in the ground. We're going to nurture that seed and just allow it to grow. Springtime. This is the symbol for springtime in Tai Chi. Now the seed sprouts roots. Make your arms come forward, hands back to back, fingers spread nice and wide. Those roots spread all around. Gathering energy, palms up. Focusing that energy inwards. Ready for summertime. The elbows go down and we make that symbol again. The seed becomes a flower, sharing itself with the world through the long hot summer until the turn and the fall. Of autumn, when we return leaves and fresh seed to the ground for winter time and renewal. Breathing in, out, springtime. Breathing in, out. Breathing in to gather energy, out to focus that energy. Ready for summertime. Breathing in and out. Breathe in for the turn, out for the fall. Of autumn. Breathing in and out. Winter time. Renewal. Now imagine, instead of a seed, it's a suggestion that we plant. And in the springtime of that suggestion, it grows roots. And those roots spread into the mind, gathering energy, focusing the mind. ready for the summertime of that suggestion, when it blooms into a wonderful flower. And then in the autumn, spreads those leaves and more suggestions, seeding them to the ground for winter time and renewal. One more cycle in the silence of your own mind. Renewal. Thank you all. Whew. That's called the Four Seasons. I use it in my Tai Chi classes, and it's also going to be part of the Hypnotic Tai presentation and workshop that I'm going to do for the Australian Hypnotherapy Association. Oh.
Hey?
The seeds and punnets. Do we want pea seeds, carrot seeds, broccoli seeds?
Broccoli's practical, eh?
A seed or carrot seed?
I can't hear any of you.
I was muted. I said that was beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
It was beautiful to watch. It was hypnotic.
Thank you.
Watch very nice, beautiful movements.
It's the original Four Seasons is from a book of children's Tai Chi, actually, but I find it very useful, and you can then make the hypnosis part of it. I presented it at the New Zealand Hypnotherapy Federation conference a few years back, my Hypnotic Chi process, and then I've been asked to go to Australia. I was supposed to be there this weekend, but COVID got in the way. So
does anybody else incorporate movement with their clients doing the hypno sessions?
I do this with my my elderly at Sit and Be Fit. I do Qigong, which is a little bit different, but it's exactly the same, but different story, but same movements. And yeah, I do it with the elderly for their balance and strength, and just to bring them into the now and stuff. They absolutely love it.
they do.
So yeah, I follow Lee Holden on Facebook, and he's put out a package. I downloaded them all, and he's got about 5 free videos on the immune system and breathing and a whole lot of other stuff. Excellent guy. Quite hot too. Not that I'd be looking.
I did a retreat this week with a lady in Australia, and I noticed that in her hypno session, the actual hypnosis session parts, she incorporated so many different techniques. Like she had the breathing, so when you were releasing stuff, she get breathe in and hold the breath, and then when you were letting everything go, you were like blowing it out and physically pulling things out of your body, and she got you to move and shake things out while you were hypnotized. It was actually so effective. I know after one of the sessions, my daughter, because she was in the room with me and she was laughing, of course, because I'm up dancing around, But I was so in a trance that I didn't know I was up dancing around. She, Melody told me later, she was walking around and she started doing this and she's like, I'm being mum. She was just being funny. But yeah, it was, yeah, getting up and sitting down and moving around and pulling things out and cutting cords and, you know, using your eyes going the different ways, you know,
and tapping. We did the tapping as well.
And vibration, the humming. It was
it's fun to combine them. It's fun
yeah,
to combine them.
unreal.
The drum roll was really good. The drum
Yeah.
meditation
Yes.
was fantastic. Yeah.
I found it interesting getting all these different techniques and incorporating them and doing them in a real solid trance state, not just
Yeah.
a,
Very high energy.
Yeah,
Have you watched Wolf Hoffman? Wolf Hoffman. He does a lot of breathing techniques, and the one that he does, you actually feel like you're high off you're out of your trolley, man. You're off your tree. It's just like every part of you is tickling. It's like a floating.
I sometimes use Tai Chi to induce hypnosis and sometimes get people to learn Tai Chi while they're in hypnosis.
Mm.
So, and,
I suppose the if we learn better in hypnosis, well, in those altered states, then I can imagine learning something like Tai Chi, you'd take it on a lot quicker, you remember it easier.
yeah, I did an accelerated learning course for the Tai Chi instructors in Wellington a few years back, because they noticed that my students were learning faster than theirs. And I said, well, that's because I'm a hypnotist. They don't realize it. They go into trance during the class and then they learn it at a phenomenal speed, you know, so.
I'm Justine. Excuse me. When I do breathing with people and I incorporate their breathing into an anchor, so basically I have them, you know, just set them up with their breathing and explain how important it is to not only to breathe, because everyone actually breathes, but how to breathe in a way that's really you know, beneficial for our bodies to balance and give us that wonderful equilibrium that we all need. And I set up with a positive anchor, as we do with the finger thumb, pretty much the same. But with their breathing, if you have them, this is really interesting when you do this with people and you see sort of the kind of a light bulb look in their eye and a bit of surprise, because I then bring in a color so they can choose any experience they like, and I let them know that it can be anything, because they're not going to tell me the experience. It's their own personal experience. So to think about that experience and really feel those emotions, really amplify those up, you know, build them up, feel them go all through your body. And then I ask them to choose a color that will represent that experience and all those wonderful feelings that they're feeling. And I want them to tell me the color, because color is neutral, it doesn't matter, you know. And so they'll say, okay, the color is, say, pink, for example. And okay, so next time when you breathe, then I want you to breathe in that wonderful big pink here, and as you do, you'll feel all those emotions increasing, those feelings of confidence and strength and calm, relaxation, whatever it is that they actually need. And notice that as you exhale, that the air that you exhale is going to be a different color. And you ask them to notice that. And it's really interesting, because when they exhale, they don't exhale pink. It's always brown or murky or smoky. And that's a clear indication to them that as they've breathed right in and done that lovely deep diaphragmatic breathing, that as they've exhaled, and when you've explained to them how that's one of the ways the body detoxes and releases physical, emotional, mental, you know, products that you don't need, waste products that you don't need anymore, and they exhale and they see that it's gone from breathing in pink and it comes out, that air comes out brown or smoky, it's like, how did that happen? Because they've kept all the good stuff and they're actually releasing what they don't need anymore. It's quite an amazing phenomenon. That was taught to me by a lady. She's actually a hypnotherapist, not with this company, but up in Tauranga, which is why I got into this. And she taught that to me, and I thought it was the most fascinating thing. Tried it, and every time you breathe in your color, and your color, mine was sapphire blue, and you breathe in your color, you know, this road sign, something, piece of clothing, someone's wearing, a color of a car, every time you see it, it triggers that wonderful feeling. But if you just notice your exhale breath, it won't be that color. It will always be kind of some sort of shade of murky gray or brown, depending on how much is going on in your life and what you're wanting to release. That's really interesting. There you go, there's my 2 bobs for the day.
I like it. The sub-modalities of breathing.
Yeah. I was going to say, Karen, do you want to quickly take us through it? Putting you on the spot as well.
Sorry?
We're falling in time until
Yeah.
So do you want to take us through? Can you do that quickly or not?
I can do it really quickly. Yeah. It's really just very similar to the finger thumb anchor, but we incorporate breathing into it. So basically, I let people know, because you see, people can be a little bit like, oh, hypnosis, they're not sure about it. And this is a wonderful way of sort of getting them into this relaxed state with them still feeling I'm completely in control, I'm not in hypnosis. So basically I go through the process of breathing while it's important. So I said, so just to start with, and just so you know, this is not our hypnotic session. We're not going into the actual hypnosis part of our session here, but technically we actually are, because we're already in hypnosis. But they go, okay, I'm okay with that. So this gives them sort of that first step forward and breaks down some of the barriers they may have. So, but with us, since we all know about it, you can just basically close your eyes and just feel yourself feeling nice and comfortable in your seat, wherever you're sitting. Just allow yourself to take 2 or 3 nice deep breaths in. Just holding those breaths just for a moment. And that releasing that breath and feeling yourself relax more and more just down into the seat that you're in. Now, I'd like you to know that you've got many, many memories that are in your mind. So I'd like you to just go back through your timeline, through your life, and just to choose a memory, any memory you want, a memory where you felt really calm and relaxed, really strong and confident and focused on where you are in life. It can be any experience you choose, because you're not going to be telling me. That's your own personal experience. So it can be anything you want. Now, when you find that experience, I want you really to think about how you are feeling. Notice any thoughts that you're having, any feelings that you're having. Notice anyone that's in that experience, whether you're with others or by yourself. Notice any colors, any sounds that are part of that experience. But most importantly, notice how you feel. Find yourself going inward and really feeling those feelings of strength and confidence, of wonderful, calm relaxation. I'd like you to turn those feelings up, just like you would with a volume dial. Turn it up. Really feel them increase and magnify. Feel those feelings flow through your body. Just feeling so good, so wonderful, so calm, relaxed, strong and confident. And it feels so good. Now, as you enjoy those wonderful feelings as they flow through your entire body, I'd like you now, with your next breath in, to think about a color, to choose a color that you would like to associate with that memory. It can be any color you choose. And when you've decided on that color, you can simply tell me. In the case where we've got multiple people here, just think about that color that you're choosing to associate with that experience. And as you inhale next, I'd like you to breathe in that color, whatever that color is. Breathe it in and really feel those feelings of calm confidence, strength, courage, whatever it is you need or feel in that wonderful experience. Really let that sit within you. And as you exhale, I'd like you to notice that the air you exhale is a different color. And at this point, I'd ask them what color it is. Just notice that exhale. Notice how you're free to let go, to release anything you no longer need. Breathing calmly and gently, and just when you're ready, you can open your eyes. I'd normally go into a little bit more about that and connect it to their daily life, but that's pretty much what I do. It's really quick and simple. And you connect that color up, and then what you do is when they give you that color, I've got like on my intake form in the second page where I do all my notes, I've got like a little square, and every key word my client brings up that has anything to do with emotional change or what they want, I write it in that square. So it's not in amongst all the rest of my scribble. I write keywords in that, and at the top of that I have color. I always write my color in. And that, so when I take them into trance, as you breathe in that wonderful sapphire blue ear. Straight away you've connected them back to that relaxation and that wonderful feeling. And then you can utilize that just to take them through the induction deepener. And then you can use that along with the finger thumb anchor so they can breathe in the ear, that, you know, sapphire blue, whatever color it is that I've told you that you've written down. They can do their finger thumb anchor as well if you want to set that up in the hypnosis. And then when they find themselves in a difficult situation, like for example, people heading back to work or taking their children to school and dropping them off, and they can, you know, feel their heart racing and these thoughts happening, and that they can simply do that finger thumb anchor, which has been set in the hypnosis, along with breathing in their color, gives them kind of a bit of a double, you know, whammy to settle them down. I had clients that I've seen a long time ago, and they say, oh, I still do my anchor, I still do my color breathing, and they said it's so powerful. So yeah, simple things, it's those simple things that can make all the difference. And make change.
It's a beautiful thing that you can do with anybody. It doesn't need to be in a
No.
I can imagine even just when, say, if someone's having a issue on the street and you're helping them
absolutely
relax, getting them to breathe in a color, and
just breathe in your favorite color. What's your favorite color? Teal. Or just take a big breath of teal in, you know, and it doesn't matter if they're frantic, you can get them, because as soon as they inhale that breath, they're going to start calming. So yeah, you know, it's a really good one to sort of have in your back pocket for any time, any place, you know, anywhere.
That's beautiful. That's cool. Karen, you've got some comments in the comments section.
Oh.
Yeah. So does anyone else do different things with their clients aside from just closing your eyes and let's go? Everyone's quiet. I know there's a lot of chatterboxes in this group. It's just everyone's muted. Yeah. So we've pretty much got, he still hasn't seen his message yet. So we've got about half an hour. So we could do a bit of a Q&A, or what do people want to do for half an hour? You can unmute, anyone can unmute themselves. I'm only muting when people are doing like exercise type things. So quiet.
When are we going to have, I tried to look it up yesterday, I couldn't quite find it, but Melissa Tears.
That is. So if anyone does get stuck, because I get messages pretty much daily about when these Zoom things are. So if you go into the Hypnosis New Zealand members group on Facebook and you go into the events section, they're all listed in there with what they're about. Well, as much as I know what they're about. So you always find them in there. They are on the website on the first page, if you, not the members portal, but the actual website.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And for people, so what date was the Melissa Tears one? Karen?
It's the 7th.
7th.
If I'm not mistaken, it's the 7th.
Yeah. And the other thing for the people that haven't is there's an HNZ members portal now. So if you do want to go and watch the replays, you can sign in. It's into the members portal, and all of the webinars are there. There's a lot of them. I was going through it last night, and there's been so many of them, really good ones. So you just sign in, and I can put that link down here later for the people that haven't done that yet. Yeah. So who's new? Who hasn't been in one of these before? Do you want to unmute? Stephen, do you want to say hi to everybody and tell everyone where you're from and chat for 10 minutes?
I'm from Wales originally.
Yeah.
Down in sunny Wanaka at the moment. Well, windy and grey, not so sunny Wanaka today.
Yeah.
Been doing hypnotherapy for 8 years. Got into it through my troubles with... my chair just got stopped spinning. Got into my own troubles with anxiety and decided that rather than go to a hypnotherapist, I would learn hypnotherapy and dealt with it that way, and been helping people since.
Excellent.
Recently getting into the havening, which I'm enjoying it. Really good. So I've found some fantastic results with that. Combined with hypnotherapy, it's pretty amazing what I've had results.
Yeah, yeah.
Just building up a practice again. I'll try and do. I had to break into in Wanaka. It was picking up again just before the old virus thing came along. And bump. Same again last year. It was picking up for me and going well, and I had to shoot off back to Wales to see to my father. So that was the business gone again. It started again. So it's been a up and down for the last 12 months with me with the hypnosis. But had a few good results online the last couple of weeks. Done a havening session with someone in America. That done well. And done a few local ones online. Yeah. So been enjoying lockdown. Anybody else working online?
I think most people have it's a funny thing with being working online, because a lot of people didn't want to, but we've pretty much been forced into the future. So for the people that weren't keen or were nervous about it, pretty much became not an option. So it was probably quite a good, it kind of got people out of their, pretty much forced them to think differently.
Yeah, I've always wanted to give it a whirl, but like you say, we've been forced into it, and I've always thought it was a good platform to learn on, and especially with the hypnotherapy, and didn't think the havening, that's quite easy doing that over self-havening and all like, so yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, do you want to, putting you on the spot again?
Yeah, go for it.
Maybe some people in the group, like I love the havening too, it's a beautiful process, but there may be some people in the group that don't know what it is or what you're talking about. Do you want to give people just a little idea of what it is?
Yeah, just rub your arms like that. There you go. Basically, it's really scientific, isn't it, when you delve into the science? But basically, the rubbing, there's three ways of doing it, main ways, and that's rubbing your arms as such like this. Hang on. Just that. Palms. And the one that really works with a lot of people is this. And just rubbing your face. Usually if you go online, you ask people to sanitize their hands first. Face there, across the forehead, and just down. And you'll find, when you start doing it, you'll find a speed and a pressure that you like yourself. Some people like it quite firm. And basically what that does is produces a delta wave. And the delta wave helps the body to relax, but then when it's used a lot for trauma recoveries. And don't ask me to go into that now, it's too early in the morning. I think. Yeah, you get it's to do with the amygdala and getting your encoding on the synaptic responders, and it diffuses that. So first of all, you will bring up, as you know, a few people may know, if you've got an issue, bring up the issue, give it a SUD scale, start with the havening, diffuses it. If you want to do the scientific bit of it, I'd have to sit down and start reading, because I don't.
That's good.
Yeah, it's basic. And when I first started doing it, I was my partner suffers PTSD. She's happy for me to tell people, and we were trying to find ways to go through it, get her through it, get her out of it. Therapist wasn't working for her, and someone suggested havening for me. So I looked it all up, and I thought, nah, it's too simple. I'm not going to try that with her. I'm not going to work with it. But then I backed myself into a corner once in doing a session with a young girl and her family. Well, just a young girl, but her mother and father used to come with her. And they were off on holidays, and the mother mentioned the stress they might all get. And I said, I'll do something with the three of you next week, just come in. And then the old mouth worked before the brain, really. And I didn't know what to do. I thought, what have I done now? I've got three completely different people. One was 11, mother's pretty calm, a father that's a businessman and stressed. And so I just looked at Paul McKenna, wrote a script out, copied best part of one of his scripts, and I'd done the havening script with the three of them. And the results were just, oof, amazing, absolutely amazing. The mother just sat there just going, I feel so brilliant, I feel amazing, I've never felt like this before. And it was great, it was just brilliant. So I started looking more into it, and then done the course just before Christmas and working at it now. Like, but coupling it with hypnotherapy, it works really well. Yeah. And a lad come in with depression, same thing, just got into it. And he stood up, if you don't mind me swearing, and he stood up in turn and he said, "What the fuck have you done to me?" And he was just beaming. And he said, "That's amazing. What have you done?" "Not me, mate. You done it." And he just, boom, he just walked out. His father got on the phone and said, "What happened? He's amazing. You've done a real good job with him." I thought, "Oh, well, long way at last." And yeah, so it's a real good process worth looking into.
Yeah.
I find it's a bit of an induction as well for people. Children will go to it a bit easier than you try to hypnotize children. So I've worked with a couple of children with it. You'll get a kid, youngster, more happy to do a bit of this as a bit of play than sit down, relax, and talking to them, blah blah blah. So it's been really helpful. They quite easy go. You get someone just sit there doing that with them, with their self-hating, and you're talking to them, and you'll get them to just go easy.
Well, you guys that haven't experienced it before, actually do it on yourself, even just sitting there. When you push it, when you bend over, you actually feel.
Yep. You get it, and you come right down. You can come down and then just do the palms and things. What I actually do is my thighs, the tops of my thighs. So I got problems with the shoulders, the same as palm havening, but and then you'll find the sweet spots on your thighs. It's not one of the most measured areas for the delta wave, but the palms are, so you're havening the palms, and you can just sit there and no one knows you're doing it. You'd be talking away to you now, and I'm just self-havening quite easily. And you find different spots on your legs that give a different reaction to the way you're feeling at that time, which, I've found that. I've travelled out with my partner and she gets the same thing, so I thought, something in that.
The main concept is when we're working with trauma and heightened emotion, the brain is in that state, everything's up.
Yep.
It's tricking the brain because we're letting it know that that's okay, and like we do with all techniques, is flipping that emotion around, but in a real, incredibly safe way that the client can do anywhere. And you can find, and you can bring I like to bring the funny side of things out when I'm talking to people. I say, "Hey, you look a bit daft," and it just eases that. But you can sit there and do it with them, so you're actually mirroring. So you sit there and doing this, and you're mirroring someone, and they'll get it all, and you don't have to say nothing. You just start rubbing your face, and they'll copy you all the way, and just actually mirror you, and you just keep going with it, talking away, and Thank you for sharing that. That's very cool.
Does he ever incorporate the back of the head as well?
Sorry, I missed that.
Do you ever incorporate the back of the head? I've got a spiritual friend that, she's taught me all this stuff and I didn't know what it was. But when she does it, we do the face, we do the arms, but she also does behind the head here and bring it down like that.
I've never done that, but I'm open to everybody's got a sweet spot, because I was talking to my mentor about the legs, and she was saying, well, it's not really a recognised area for. I said, well, it works for me. So it's fine then. And I was reading online the other day, and someone else is actually doing a hand at the front and a hand at the back of the head, and just slowly moving them, not going far, and just applying gentle pressure.
That feels nice.
That's working for some as well. Yeah. So it's a vast world, and there's a lot of information online about it. It's quite big in America, and there's been a few webinars. I don't know if anybody's joined up with a webinar in America during this shutdown we've had, lockdown. And the difference over there, I'm lucky. We're sat in 15 acres and we don't have to see anybody. But the difference in the stress levels over there compared to New Zealand is just phenomenal. And the havening has really took off over there, especially online work and everything. And there's some real good stuff online if you ever want to read a bit more about it. Just get on it. It's the havening.org. I wouldn't personally. I'm doing a course because I want to become a practitioner. But I'll be mixing the two together. There's a guy, I can't remember his name. I think it might be Doug O'Brien. I'm not sure. No, Olaf. And he does hypnosis and havening together. And when I actually seen him, because I've got to stick this prescription for what I'm doing, for what they want me to do the case studies. watched a webinar with him, and he's mixing the hypnosis and the evening together, and I thought, oh, yes, this is the way forward, and you can see it. It's brilliant. So
a really cool experience. I had a really bad headache, and I don't normally get headaches. I'm talking a really bad headache at a course.
yes,
It was like telling me, and we had to practice the havening, and I closed my eyes, and it was just, you know, when you get an unbearable headache. And honestly, by the end of, they did have a script that you read through, you know, and they're counting down slowly and stuff with the 10, 9, you know, like that 8, which is probably must have been part of the havening. Yeah, the headache was gone, absolutely 100% gone when I opened my eyes. So that worked for Jane. Obviously, the headache must have been caused by me being frightened or something. I don't know, but yeah, it went away with the havening. Totally 100%.
I can give you a funny one. When I was doing the course, I was then looking and I just said to the course tutor, I said, I've done this with my dog. She said, what? I said, I used to do this with my dogs. I said, basically the same process before I would, when I was back in Wales and we were doing various competitions things. So that would calm the dogs down by all the cheeks. So I actually did a video of me havening one of my dogs here the other day, a few weeks back. And I got the other dog. It's quite a bit of a piss take basically for me, like a bit of a funny thing, just to add a bit of humour. And the dog just actually went down, and while I was havening her, she just over, gone. And I've done it for a while. I didn't realise maybe it's havening. I don't know. Maybe it's producing the same thing. But I've got a puppy here, and she was running around wild the other day, so I grabbed hold of her and just rubbing all inside the cheeks and down the neck, just there on the pup. And she just went whoop, in my lap, and that was it. She's a little whippet pup that's all over the place. And there's a woman that actually does it with horses as well.
It would be amazing with horses.
In Scotland, yeah.
There's one here in the Hutt Valley as well that does it with horses.
Sorry?
There's one here in the Hutt Valley that does it with horses.
Is that?
I'll tell you what, that would be the most powerful technique to teach the riders, because nearly all horse problems are caused by the riders, you know, and they always act it out. So if you teach havening to the rider and they're sitting there doing that, then they're coming down and they'll get a good experience.
It's just the same with the dog. Same with the dog, basically. People who try to do dog training and they think it's the dog and it's not the dog. It's like me, if the dogs annoy me and I get get all wound up with them, then you can tell they just get off away from me. They know before I even got into the pound. I've got 20 dogs out there to experiment on. And before I even get to them, if I'm wound up for some reason, they'll know. They'll pick it up, so they pick it up. And I've tried to teach people if they bought the dog off me in the past, basically your lead is a connection to your dog, and you'll transmit whatever you've got into your dog. They'll pick it up.
You know what energy I'm in today, eh? That's a puppy.
Yeah. What have you done to it?
It's just when we go into the hypnosis room. I've only had it a couple of days, but every hypnosis session I've had, the dog has gone from walking around to lying down instantly and going there for the whole time. So I'm just up on the energy.
Yeah, I should put. I'll put the video. I couldn't get the link working really in the beginning of lockdown. Our internet here was just terrible. I couldn't in the beginning. I wouldn't have been able to done this with you. So they've upped all the internet around the area. We're on the end of the line in the middle of nowhere, so I couldn't even upload that evening thing. But I'll put it on my Facebook page. You can all have a look if you want to. That's Phoenix sitting ahead of me. Like it's a bit of fun, but it works. It works. I've actually had someone come down. I've done some havening and hypnotherapy with her, and she just mentioned the dog. I said, "Well, haven the dog." She's just, you're joking. I said, "No, seriously." She said, "But he's really wound up all the time, and he gets in these situations. It's just haven the dog." So I talked her through it, how to do it. I had a message off her a few weeks back. I do it to my dog now. It's absolutely amazing the results I get with him. I can calm him down, just get him and calm him down almost instantly when I start havening him.
I was wondering, Stephen, which part of Wales are you from?
Newport, South Wales.
Newport.
Yeah. You know it?
Yeah, I met my wife when we were both nursing in Bridgend. She's
Oh,
from
yeah,
my
yeah.
and yeah, been together ever since. Yeah, love Wales.
Yeah, good old Bridgend. Yeah, my daughter lives in Bridgend.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's my go-to therapist for help. She's doing forensic psychology, but she deals with abused children.
Right.
Yeah, so that's a big thing to do, like, basically, and yeah, I think I'm her outlet sometimes. It's great. She teaches me some good stuff, especially when it comes to children. Different angle on things, but no, they're not as lucky over there as us at the moment, are they?
No.
With the animals and the havening, I probably told a lot of people, but if you're into the heart math, they did a lot of research with the heart math machines doing the heart focused breathing.
Yep.
And researchers, one of the things they did was they would get animal owners and their pets or their dogs and completely separate them and put these heart monitors on them, and so the owner would get anxious and they'd be able to test that the dog on the other side of the house would go into anxiety, would match the heart rate. And then when they did the heart focused breathing to get them back into parasympathetic, they noticed that the dog's hearts matched it every time on the other side of the house, even though they were completely away from each other. They tested, you know, how far your electromagnetic field goes and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so they had these machines and they were testing on dogs and their owners and getting the coherence matching from the other side of the house instantly. I thought that was incredible.
Our dog and cat are both like that. But the dog's more in tune with my wife, and the cat's more in tune with me. Frequencies match.
Yeah, I've got I quite watch what you can learn a lot from animals, and basically I learn quite a lot to do with the dogs and the way they are and the way they interact, the social interaction and things like that. And there's a lot for body language. You can see a hell of a lot and learn a lot of body language. I think we must have had it years ago, but we've just let it go. Animals have still retained it. So yeah, when you watch one dog walk up to another and just put a shoulder to it, give it a rub, and the other dog just whoop, not having none of that. The aggression goes, and the change is amazing. Just to watch them.
Yeah.
I could. Can I offer some something to share with the group?
Yeah.
Well, aren't you? This is your first time?
Yes, yeah. I'm sort of feeling my way a bit. Just in terms of heart coherence, and we're talking about the havening technique, and one way of actually connecting groups together is to do this little exercise. You might like to follow with me. Is just put your finger out and imagine you're touching everyone's finger through the screen. I don't know if you can adjust your finger in relationship to the camera. And you can close, once you get, well, you can't close your eyes, you wouldn't be able to see the finger, would you?
Yeah.
And now just imagine you're touching everyone's finger at the same time. And then just feel that energy coming through your finger. And you're all connected as a group. So everyone try and see it so that your finger can come up on the screen. Justin, just put your finger up next to the camera so the finger comes up on the screen. Now, as you're doing that, just feel everyone's energy coming through your finger and feel that energy coming up through your whole hand and into your body. And we're all connected. Just focus on your breathing and just feel that energy comes through your finger. And we're all through heart coherence. We're connected together as a group. You feel that energy coming through the finger, coming up your hand, and perhaps going through your whole body. Just take deep breaths in, focus on your breath. On the in-breath, feel that energy coming in through your fingers, through your hand, and coming in through your whole body. And as you breathe out, maybe going through the other hand, as the breath comes out the other part of your hand, on the other hand, as you're breathing in, And you can maybe see an energy, a light. Maybe you can picture it as a light coming in. And breathe in. The funny thing, I was doing it before. You can stop now if you like. I was doing it before and I was getting no energy. And of course, when I was doing it with everyone here, you suddenly feel the energy coming through. So you can test it. Just do that with your finger when no one's aware of what you're doing and you don't feel the energy. When you do it as a group and you're all focused and linked together, you will feel that energy. So it actually does work. You can go to quantum physics if you like. You know, every part of the universe is connected. So if you want to connect a group online very quickly, that's a very quick way of doing it.
That's really cool.
Parts coherence or coherence, yeah.
Yeah.
But it works, doesn't it? Do you feel it?
I noticed that.
And I bet people saw different colours and, sorry?
I closed my
What was
eyes.
that, Justin?
I closed my eyes, and every time I opened them, my hand had gone heaps to the left, and I'm like, back to the camera. Thought it was quite funny.
Yeah, it does actually work, believe it or not.
That reminds me of the, I watched a video the other day on the ninja hypnotherapist. Have you seen him? Relying on energy.
Oh, okay.
Basically,
I haven't heard of him, no.
Yeah, I just had a look as you scan through one of these things, and he was just getting people's hands and just doing that and asking them if they could feel it. And then people were starting to feel it, and then he was putting one hand above and one hand below as if there was a piece of string through and going like that. And then their hands were starting to go in, and he was hand towards them, and he was moving people before he got his hand anywhere near them. He called it, it's just ninja energy. It was interesting to watch. That's what I got my partner.
We do that in Tai Chi classes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Good one.
As soon as they get into tune with you, it's just they're following your suggestion and imagining the energy.
Yes, yes.
So they've accepted that there's an energy, and whatever name they give it, whether it's a heart connection or chi or whatever they want to call it, so long as they connect with it, then they follow the movement. But what they're really doing is following your suggestion.
They did.
There's a lot of energy system there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I know there's a chiropractor technique where I was watching, and they had people on a bed, and the person working would just be working with their, through using energy, and then the person would be face down, and then they'd lift their hands up, and the person's body would just go up, from behind. Their back would go back, their legs would come up, and then they'd lower them down and then go to another area and lift that up and down. But the person's head was face down, eyes closed, and it was almost like a dance, but they were working with, I can't remember what the name was, but it's something, a modality.
There was a great article I read explaining the energy fields seen originally in what was called Curlian photography. And this article talked about the energy fields around human beings, being that each person is a little bit like a cell phone. And we have energy fields. And when they interconnect with somebody else's energy field, we can pass that energy on. And that can be an explanation for why some people are radiators, some people are drains, some people seem to be almost telepathic. It's as if there is an energy network that can connect human beings. But if you don't accept the resonance yourself, then you're not going to be in tune with it. It's like being a mobile phone that's turned off. You're not prepared to receive. So
I know that's another thing HeartMath did, was they were checking the heart rate variability and the field and how many people it would take in a room. So if say 3 people were coherent and an anxious person came in that always had anxiety, their heart would instantly go into coherence, whereas if someone that was always naturally neutral and calm went into a room of 2 anxious people, boom, you've got an anxious person. So that's about the connection that families have together, and really how our field, or the way we are, how it affects everybody around us. So it's interesting stuff, eh? Like there's and it's so cool that science is coming in and actually showing how and what's happening. It's not just this is happening and we don't know why. It's they've got people out there that are doing the research, you know, being able to show this is what.
It's like the science behind Reiki, about the energy fields, how you use the theories of thermodynamics. You can actually explain how Reiki and other energy modalities work, because you're just acting as a conductor to move energy from a high concentration to a low concentration, and thus correcting the imbalance in the body. So as the practitioner, you're the wire.
You've got that energy ball thing that you do with people, eh, Andrew, where you get people to feel the ball within their hands.
Oh, the bubble. That's the Tai Chi ball. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. That's a good one. So I mean, if you if you want to join in, we'll do that. So imagine you've got a ball between your fingertips. You give that ball a name if you like. I prefer to call it chi. And just imagine that ball or bubble. Feel the texture and the temperature against your fingertips. And now allow that ball to expand. And as it expands, just allow your consciousness to expand with it. Now that ball is going to start to contract, but it won't pull away from your fingers. Instead, it pulls your fingers in with it. Notice the focus. The ball expands. And the ball contracts. And you may want to associate this with the therapy. But just imagine that as your confidence or your client's confidence increases, the ball expands. And as they focus more upon their confidence, their appetite and their waistline contract and shrinks down. Confidence expands and the waistline contracts. Now imagine that energy bubble being your comfort zone. Take that energy into your heart. Let that bubble enter you. Now that bubble that is your comfort zone is inside you. You cannot step out of your comfort zone because your comfort zone is within you.
That's really cool, thank you. Yeah, that's a cool feeling. I love it when you get out to here and then you can't bring your hands back in because you're so stuck with energy.
That's a great one to put in when you're doing a weight loss session.
See that, the feeling of the shrinking.
Yeah.
Size of a
Like this.
little ball.
Creating a ball, like a dynamo. And then when the confidence really builds in, push it into your heart.
Yeah.
Like a dynamo, you know, the yin yang.
Yeah.
The yin yang. Yin yang. And then when you got it really hot, put it into your heart. Push it in. I love it. Yeah, it's lovely. Thanks, Andrew. I love it.
I've
Yeah,
been
thanks,
combining
Andrew.
Tai Chi and hypnosis for about 10 years now. So,
Yeah. You're my intro. I think you're an induction lecturer. You did my induction course, I think, back in
sorry?
Wellington. You did my induction course back in Wellington, hypnotherapy course.
Did I?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, it was good.
I taught it.
Practiced on me. I think you practiced on me. I had to surrender and fall back onto you, I think.
Yeah. Boom.
Thankfully, you caught me, which is good.
Catch. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a catch-22.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
a while back, Hutt City Council were looking for a way to regenerate interest in street performance, and they had a street performers initiative, and they invited people to apply. So I wrote in and said, do you want me to do Tai Chi classes, or do you want me to do some street hypnosis? And they said, can you combine them? So I did, and they commissioned two-hour shows in the street, and they cleared me a space.
Lovely.
Yeah, which was awesome. So yeah,
I'd love to do some street stuff. I'd love to do some street. I'd love to do street hypnosis.
You have to get you have to get a license. It's the busker's license that you get, and
oh, okay.
and I was the first one in Hutt City to get one. So,
Oh.
I'd say this has been a excellent display of how we can use just bring together different modalities, but also using our bodies that we don't have to stick to.
Yeah.
Close your eyes, because like everything we've done today has been awesome.
Yeah.
Kind of expanding.
Another thing is when it comes to like movement therapies, whether it's Tai Chi or anything else, you can use them for people who've got Parkinson's and combine it with that as well. So you go for the stillness and then associate into that. That's really empowering.
Awesome. Well, that was, I have to say, that was a surprising last hour there. All the different things. And now we have Mr. Dr. Richard Longard with us.
Yay!
Yay!
You really look like you're in overseas. Your background.
It's Las Vegas in the background there.
At the Hypnosis.
So I'm having a hard time hearing what you said, Justine.
Okay. Oh, I said we were going to be in Vegas in a couple of months, weren't we, for Hypno Thoughts?
Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen? Nobody knows. I wish we had a crystal ball and could tell.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be in Australia.
But it's good to see everybody. Happy Monday. It's really nice to have a place to have a window into the future.
Yeah.
So, because it's of course only Sunday afternoon here. So.
It is Saturday morning here, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, so do you want to introduce yourself? I know everyone here knows who you are.
Sure. Well, for those who I haven't met before, hi, I'm Richard. It's good to know you. I know a lot of the people here in the room, so that's great. It's always good to see old friends. And, you know, I'm looking forward to spending a little bit of time here.
Yeah, so pretty much what we do in our chats, which I did explain, is just we get to know you, and people, if they've got any questions, just fire them at you. But I was really going to introduce you as well, because our courses are running certified by ICBCH as well. So I thought it would be good for people to have a name and to know a little bit about that as well.
Sure. You know, people always ask me, how did the ICBCH begin? And a lot of people don't know what the history is. So I'll just share quickly what the history is. You know, back in 2006, I was doing a lot of training for other licensed mental health professionals, psychologists, social workers, marriage and family therapists. Florida had this crazy requirement that if you were a licensed mental health professional, you couldn't do hypnosis unless you took a course that was pre-approved by the state board. Seemed kind of strange since they didn't require people who had no training or no background to take a specific course, but they did. So we began certifying the folks in Florida in order to document, you know, their training for the State Board of Behavioral Sciences in Florida. And, you know, what ended up happening was we ended up doing training in many other places in the country and providing certifications. So the ICBCH has never tried to be the biggest or the hugest organization. What it's tried to do instead is to be the most member responsive. So in the last, you know, a couple of years, the organization's really grown because, you know, the ICBCH has tried to meet the needs of professionals wherever those professionals live, whether it's in the US or Canada or Europe or New Zealand. And by providing, you know, high quality training, we have about 150 instructors who are certified by the ICBCH to provide training to other professionals. And, you know, it's been a great, I guess what going on in 2000, almost 15 years now. So.
Excellent. And we've been sharing a lot of your subliminal science things too.
Sure, yeah, there are a ton of resources on subliminal science. Yeah. And, you know, my hope always is, although things become less than organized as internet web pages are continually changing and those sorts of things, but you know, it's provided, my goal has always been you know, high quality courses at an affordable price. So I think you'll find that sometimes people get mad at me because our courses are less expensive than other people and have twice the content as other people. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
So.
I think I've got most of them.
Sure.
Most of the courses. Yeah. The one thing I shared of yours the other day in the group was a chart talking about the importance of doing the autogenic training, the progressive.
Oh, sure. That's the 5 elements of a skill building induction. You know, so many people think that induction is something we get through so that we get to the good stuff. But if we do induction correctly, the induction is the good stuff. And, you know, look, John Sorbonne and I, back in the, you know, early 2000s, we, you know, created that Speed Trance DVD series. It's probably sold more hypnosis training DVDs than anyone on the planet Earth with that. Look, there's a place for rapid inductions, and I use them in my work sometimes, but largely I don't. And the reason why I don't is because done correctly, the induction isn't something to get through to get to the good stuff. It is actually the good stuff. And, you know, there's a ton of research that shows that progressive muscle relaxation has profound and lifelong results for those who practice it, for those who learn it. So I try to teach progressive muscle relaxation to my clients. A lot of people would make fun of you at a hypnosis convention for using progressive muscle relaxation as an induction, but it's safe. It's easy to do. Nobody's afraid the devil's going to steal their soul because they're, you know, relaxing some muscles. You know, it's non-controversial, and there's a pile of evidence to show that it has lasting, lifelong results, emotionally, behaviorally, in our physical well-being. A mountain of research on it. So those different elements, I think, are really important and really helpful. Autogenic training. I'm surprised at how many hypnotists don't know what autogenic training is. Autogenic training is about creating from within. So if I can create warmth and heaviness in a hypnotic induction, well, what my client learns is that they can create anything from within. So if they can create warmth and heaviness in the induction, then can they create joy and happiness in life? Can they create confidence when they step onto the stage? Can they create security in their finances or in their relationships? What else can they create from within? Really, the sky's the limit, and autogenic training teaches them that. The other components to that skill building induction, visualization. Visualization is a great way to use the creative power of the mind. Eye fixation. So many people don't know they can choose where to put their attention. So if I have you stare at a spot on the far wall, not only does it produce ocular fatigue without having to use a pocket watch, but you actually learn something valuable. And what you learned is you can choose where to put your attention. If I can put my attention to something as simple as a spot over on the far wall, well then, I have the ability to bring my attention to comfort rather than to the pain, both emotional as well as physical. So, I'm glad you shared that with them, because that's actually a pretty useful tool. What are the things that we want to teach our clients in the context of an induction, because it can make lifelong change for them?
I think what we're doing in the first part about because we got the diploma in advance, but you've seen those. In the diploma now, most people are actually giving autogenic training as a recording beforehand too, before clients come.
Right.
Using that as the, just getting a recording out there and getting people to get used to that before they come in for a session, which works really well, because the people love it. People that come absolutely love the recording. They love the autogenic training.
I was taught autogenic training by some nurses 30-something or 35 years ago. And it's a skill I've been using in my own life with my clients ever since. There's in the UK, maybe New Zealand, I don't know. It seems like the UK is more aware of autogenic training than America is. In America, the only ones who seem to know about it are nurses, mental health professionals. Hypnotists just don't. And so, I've been trying to spread the word here, but it's just a really great strategy.
I've got a book, because my mum was an OT, and she's now in her 70s, so she learned a long time ago. And the books that she had to study then was autogenic training and visualization.
Good.
People, yeah. I thought that was interesting. So when I was talking to her about it, she's like, oh, I did that. We're talking 40, 50 years ago. It was part of, the training process, just visualization. But yeah, I thought it was really cool.
David commented on my voice. I love to sing, but I'm the world's worst singer because I have a gravelly voice and I'm a monotone bass. And I was always depressed because I love to sing, but I'm just a horrible, horrible, horrible singer. So I was excited when after high school, I learned what hypnosis was, because being a monotone bass turns out to make you a great hypnotist, even if it makes you a lousy singer. I never tried to sing again after that. Although on Facebook, I did just release my first single finally with RJ Banks. So I did actually sing the other day, but that it turns out it makes you a pretty good hypnotist, and so that's pretty cool. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
I've got a question here from Faye, who has can't use her voice today. She asked about the download. And at the bottom of that picture, there is the download link at the bottom to type in, but we can put the download link for the contextual skill building induction. I think the link came on that picture, didn't it? That we posted, but we'll find it.
Well, I can post a link. By the way, I just posted a link to my single. We put it on YouTube also. Made a music video. I put it in the chat box. I can post a link here to an entire training on the skill building induction. So you have more than just that paperwork. Let me find it really quick, because it's on my blog. The problem with it being on my blog, it's been on my blog for 3 or 4 years. There's been a lot of other blog posts. And so I'll just find the link for you. And on that page is both a downloadable script, an actual video presentation. I think that there's probably a couple different resources for you. So I'll find the link here. I'm almost to it. And that way everybody can have access to what, you know, people ask me, what do you do, Richard, when you're working with clients in your office or when you're doing an online hypnosis session? Well, you know, I know lots of different inductions and I use lots of different inductions, but I suppose 90% of the time, this is what I actually default to, some form of this hypnotic induction. And the reason why, even though it's not the fanciest, it's what actually works. And my clients are paying me to have a solution, not to impress other hypnotists with complicated stuff. So that's probably why it's my favorite induction. So, yep, here we go. Here is the page. I have finally found it. So, bam, I'm getting to the page that bypasses the opt-in, right? So the opt-in would be the one where I get your email address, but here's just the resource page. And, on that resource page, again, this is probably a 4 or 5 year old blog post. There may be some things that aren't available that are on that page. But I know the video presentation is, the downloadable script is, probably an MP3 practice session. So there's a bunch of resources right here on this page for you. And, you know, you're welcome to have it.
I love it.
Yeah. So I just posted that there in the chat box for you. You know, a lot of people ask me right now, what's a simple strategy for self-hypnosis to teach people? I've been teaching a strategy called the 3-2-1 anxiety reset, or just the 3-2-1, you know, emotional reset. And the reason why I've been teaching that to folks is something that is truly a useful strategy. It really works. And the 3 is just to have a person do a grounding exercise by taking 3 breaths and counting those breaths. They don't have to breathe in any special way. They just have to breathe, right? But by paying attention to the breath, what we do is we set aside anxieties about yesterday and fear of the future, and we are grounded in this moment. So after a person counts 3 breaths, then we have 2 hands, and if we put the 2 hands on our shoulder in a self-hug, what happens is we actually move into the position that's congruent with affirmation. And there's actually research that shows that oxytocin and other, you know, brain chemicals are released when we actually give ourselves an affirming, you know, non-shaming self-hug, right? And then the 1 is for 1 minute, just 1 minute of focusing on the present moment. And that's the 3-2-1 anxiety reset. And in that 1 minute, we could make it complex and do hypnotic suggestions or affirmations or anything else. But I actually like to use that 1 minute just to teach my client 1 minute of paying attention to the present. Because even if there are bad things going on in the world, even if the world is a scary place, even if times are difficult right now, in this 1 minute, as long as we're breathing, we're actually okay. In the past, I've done a lot of hypnosis with oncology patients. And, you know, the only thing that I really had to offer them was that in this moment, as long as you're breathing, you're actually okay. So you can set aside the anxieties about the future and just pay attention to the breath and be okay right now, right? So that 3-2-1 reset is 3 breaths, paying attention to the breath. 1, 2, 3, my 2 hands, giving myself a hug, closing the eyes down, and 1 minute of being mindful. This is a, you know, very easy to do self-hypnosis technique for anxiety or panic or stress, or really it could be adapted to anything that would be helpful to people.
That's excellent. That's very cool. I'm just writing that down in the comments. So 3 breaths.
I think I just, absolutely, for grief as well. Somebody asked if that'd be useful for grief. Absolutely. I think that I used the upload a file button correctly. I think I did. And I uploaded a file. It's another little infographic of that 3-2-1 reset. And please teach that to your clients. It'll be real helpful to them. I mean, it's been helpful to me. Weirdly enough, I've been doing that for about 30 years, just 3 breaths, 2 hands, 1 minute. And, you know, for me personally, it's helped me through a lot of overseas flights in turbulent seas over the middle of either the Atlantic or the Pacific. So.
And 1 minute.
Yeah. The graphic I uploaded is actually pretty cool. I don't know if I can screen share or not, but yeah, I don't see how to do that. But you can open up that file and download it. And you'll have it for your records. By the way, I'm a horrible typist. And somebody needs to do a hypnosis session for typing. So if you get anything from me, there are typos in it. I know that. You don't have to tell me. There's no way for me to correct all the typos I have left behind. So feel free to retype anything if it would be useful to you. If you can't tolerate my typing abilities. But let's see what else we got here. Yeah, Andrew. I like to impress other hypnotists at a hypnosis convention because I sell more books. But with my clients, I'm not trying to impress them at all. I'm just trying to, I'm just trying to help them at their deepest level. And really, even at a hypnosis convention, I don't know. I don't know if I sell more books. I tend to leave my table, so I don't even know how many books they're selling. But it's the simple things that are often the solutions to the most complex problems. And I see people just spending, tons of money and tons of time trying to learn, all the right technique. The right technique is to have compassion and to care about other people. The research actually shows that even if we're lousy therapists who use bad techniques, we can actually help people make change if we're good people and truly care about them. I mean, this is why I meet hypnotists all the time. We do really weird, crazy stuff. And their clients love them. And I'm like, what the heck? It's because they're compassionate. It's because they have empathy. It's because they've connected to them. That's really the most important thing with our clients. Be there for them. I always say I don't do anything to my clients. I don't hypnotize them. I don't do anything to my clients. I do something with my clients. I share trance with them. And when I share trance with my clients, I thank my clients when my session is done for letting me share this trance space with them. Then my clients have somebody who's walking with them in the difficult times during the period of change, and the results are amazing. It's been really a pretty good 32 years of doing this. I've been doing this for 32 years, so it's kind of a while. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Can I take this opportunity to thank you for a resource that you shared a few years ago?
Oh, sure.
Which is you were moving offices at the time, and you took the time out during that busy time to do a video each day of how to set up a new hypnotherapy office. And that was such a fantastic resource to use that really helped me to set up mine. And I don't know how many other people in the group would have helped as well, but it was a fantastic idea to do. So thank you.
Yeah, well, thanks. I think I turned that into a blog post also, but I'm not sure. But people want to know, what do you need to open up an office? How much does it cost? And so since I had moved, you're right, from Tulsa, Oklahoma to Las Vegas and reopened the office here, I decided to keep all the old Tulsa hypnosis clinic furniture at my house. So I'm actually up in my office. Let me see if I can turn this background. Well, let me see if I can turn this background off. So I'm actually in my little studio that's at my house. And yeah, here we go. So all this furniture, all this hypnotic furniture is from the old Tulsa Hypnosis Center. So I decided to keep an office at my house. I don't use it for clients. I don't see clients at my house, but everything that was in the Tulsa Hypnosis Center, all this furniture, dividers, boards, everything else is all up here. So this is the old Tulsa Hypnosis Center up here. So I bought everything brand new for my office in Las Vegas. And I made a video and a blog post about, I know it's on my blog. It's subliminalscience.com. Up at the corner, it says Hypnoblog. There's a ton of stuff on there. So in Las Vegas, I started from scratch with nothing in the office because everything is here. And I think it cost me $4,400. That included the liability insurance, the first month deposit, all the furniture I bought, everything, and I videoed everything that I put in there, everything I did, the business license from the city, the state, all that sort of stuff. then people would know, hey, what should I be putting in my office? Well, here's what Richard has in his office. Apparently $4,400 worth of stuff.
It was also the thinking that went behind where to put things as well that gave clues as to how to set up, and that was great. And how you set up for children and adults, and that was mind blowing.
Right. But, you know, the love seat isn't there so that people can stretch out. The love seat is there because I do a lot of work with obese clients. And if they're 440 pounds, they can't get out of the recliner, right? I mean, I sit in this recliner a lot, but my 440 pound clients can't get out of a recliner, right? So they have to sit on a love seat. They can't sit in a chair because it'll fall apart.
What's
right?
a love
So, yeah, this is a love seat over here. Yeah, you can't see it because the camera's got this weird angle, but there's an ottoman next to it. So that's why it looks a little longer, but there's an ottoman in a love seat.
It's a love seat, so it's for two people.
Right. But I use it for one person because they're 440 pounds.
Right.
They're afraid to sit in the recliner.
Yeah.
So, you know, all these sorts of things. I don't really work with people who need to lose 20 or 30 pounds of weight so they can look good at their daughter's wedding and makes their ex feel jealous. That's not who I take as a client. For weight loss, I only work with men who need to lose half their body weight or more. And so my weight loss clients are catastrophically obese. They're typically in their 40s. They typically weigh anywhere from 350 to 600 pounds. If they don't lose half their body weight in the next 18 to 24 months, it's probably a death sentence for them. So those are the folks who I work with in bariatric or weight loss hypnosis. It's just the niche that I work best in. I only take clients who I work well with. I don't take every client who calls my office. I only take the ones who I'm going to be successful with. You know, and so that's the niche. That's for weight loss. That's who I work best with. So that's who I see, and I refer everybody else to somebody else.
And you've got that as a I think I've got that as well. The weight loss that you do on subliminal.
Yeah, I'm sure that on subliminal science there's probably more than one course on what does Richard do for weight loss or just about anything else. You know, like I said, I'm not new to this. I've been doing this for a long time. So I have a new book out on self-hypnosis. You know, one of the things over the years that I've, for some reason, never really on my website put a lot of resources out there for self-hypnosis, but I love teaching my clients self-hypnosis so that when they leave my office, they can take hypnosis as a go order, right? So that hypnosis isn't something they have to come to me for. I want my clients, when they come to see me for hypnosis, to learn how to become hypnotic so that life is hypnotic. And so I teach a lot of self-hypnosis to my clients. I have a new book out titled The 7 Most Effective Methods of Self-Hypnosis. I'm pretty happy. It's been a bestseller. I think it's ranked number 7,000 on Amazon out of 4.5 million books. So I think that's pretty good. And a lot of people have loved it. There's 32 5-star reviews and then one guy who hated it. And so people like the book. It's titled The 7 Most Effective Methods of Self-Hypnosis. I actually have a class coming up that starts Tuesday of this week, a Zoom class on self-hypnosis. And that's another resource that I think is really helpful for people as well. In fact, I'll post a link to it. I have no idea. It's at 11 in the morning on Tuesdays, which is probably Wednesday in the middle of the night for you. But it is recorded, so if you miss any of it, that's available to you. And on that same page, there's also a link down at the bottom to the book on Amazon. So if you find that to be a resource, I think it's a whopping $4 or $5 for the Kindle version of the book.
So I think Faye asked about speaking a little bit about the research findings around the effectiveness of hypnosis. I think on our HNZ page is a link to the book, the 101 that you have.
Yeah, so every hypnotist should be familiar with scholar.google.com. I think I spelled scholar right here, scholar, Scholar, I don't know. I think I spelled it correctly. Scholar.google.com. This is, in my opinion, the greatest resource that Google's ever provided. And the reason why is it only provides content from peer-reviewed journals. Here's the thing that people don't realize. There's over 12,000 peer-reviewed journals that just use the word hypnosis, that show that hypnosis is a first-line intervention. Then, of course, there are hundreds of thousands of other studies that use what we recognize are hypnosis and hypnotic methods, but they never use the word hypnosis. So visualization, insight meditation, progressive muscle relaxation, all these things that we know are hypnosis, but they never use the word hypnosis. But you can go to scholar.google.com, and whatever you're interested in, type in hypnosis, burn control, burn recovery, right? Type in hypnosis, oncology, hypnosis, anxiety, hypnosis, surgical recovery, hypnosis, stop smoking, hypnosis, leadership, hypnosis, golf. You will find peer-reviewed evidence at scholar.google.com for just about everything you could ever imagine using hypnosis for. And it even answers the question, what type of method should I be using, right? Because every one of those research studies that shows us that hypnosis was effective also tells us what methods of hypnosis were used.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And those things are good to even to have sidelines. I know in New Zealand at the moment, just only in the last few weeks, people are getting pulled up on their websites. I think they're really targeting hypnotherapy at the moment here. So people are being asked to take down things, even as simple as virtual gastric band, because the advertising standards are saying that it's not, it's false, that you can't prove that it works. And so they're coming at our profession just a little bit at the moment. So these kind of things would be very handy to have close, I can imagine right now. I think people just have a little bit of time on their hands.
Yeah, so, recently, as in like yesterday, somebody sent me a note saying, hey, they won't let me publish my hypnosis CDs at CD Baby anymore because they won't accept the word hypnosis. On the list of things to do is to contact CD Baby, which is the largest distributor of spoken word media, and find out why they would have that restriction. And I once bought advertising out of Reddit, and Reddit wouldn't take my ads because I was a hypnotist, and I provided them with the research that showed that hypnosis is a useful strategy for helping people to make lasting change, and that the research backs it. And because I took the time to educate the salespeople, they ended up accepting my ad, and I was pretty happy about that. So a lot of times we run into resistance about hypnosis. It gets lumped into anything from, witchcraft to, fakery. And with a little bit of education, people learn that, wow, hypnosis isn't something that is just made up. It's something that actually has a research-backed approach to it.
Mm. So you do have I know we've got it here, a little 101 book.
Yeah, I was trying to find the file for you, but I can't seem to find the file on my messed up computer. So you have it? Yeah, please share that with people. And if you ever come over to the USA and come to my classes or any of the conventions, whether it's the ICBCH convention in February or the HypnoThoughts convention in August, I'll give you a copy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Awesome. Does anyone else have any questions or anything they want to say or anything they want to ask? Quite a quiet group today.
Yeah, you guys can always find me and ask questions on the forum on Facebook, at icbchgroup.com. Send me a message. I try to answer any questions always. But it's been great speaking with you and with everybody today. So.
For everyone, connecting the face to the name and being able to say hi. And
sure. Well, good to see everybody. Hopefully I can get to New Zealand sometime when the planes are running again. I'm always looking for an excuse to travel anywhere. And well, Australia and New Zealand have been on my bucket list, and 2 places I've never been. So,
Yeah.
We'd love to have you.
You know, I don't know why I've never been there. I've been everywhere else in the world. So maybe because it's so far away.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people want to come to New Zealand. I know every time I go to Germany, they say to me that they picture it as this amazing paradise, which it most likely is.
It probably is, yeah. I mean, I lived in Oklahoma for a long time. I guarantee you New Zealand's way better. And I've never been there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Faye asked a question about the upcoming class. So each week is a pre-recorded set of skills, some MP3s, some worksheets, some reading materials, and then there's a live Zoom class. But if you miss the Zoom class because it's a weird time in New Zealand, it is pre-recorded. I mean, it is going to be recorded, so you'll have access to that after the fact as well. And the Zoom class isn't going to be particularly interactive because we're going to have so many people attending it. So it'll largely be me doing processes and exercises with people. That's the Tuesday class, which is probably your Wednesday middle of the night. What time is it in New Zealand now?
Yeah, it's about 20 to 12 in the morning on Saturday.
Right. So, you know, my guess
Are you on Mountain Time in Las Vegas?
No, I'm on Pacific Time. Las
Oh, you're
Vegas.
Pacific there. Okay. So that means if you're Pacific that you are 5 hours ahead of us and a day back.
Yeah, it's 4:36 on Monday. I mean, on Friday here.
4:36.
Oh, it goes the other way. 7 is it then? What is it? 4:36.
4:36. So.
Yeah, I think we had a bit of a muck up with the times because when we organised it, I forgot about daylight savings.
I don't know. We're probably in daylight savings time now.
Because we definitely had a change in time in the last, I'd say, little while. Can't really remember when. Within lockdown, anyway.
Yeah, I've lost track of what day. I mean, I'm not doing any classes or seeing any clients in my office because we're not allowed to. So I've been going to my office maybe once a week, make sure nobody broke in and stole stuff. Yeah. I have. My sister-in-law got laid off as soon as this started, so she moved in here. So I have my niece, my wife, my stepdaughter, and our new puppy, our new golden doodle dog. Yeah. So sometimes I just need a little bit of quiet, so I'll go over to the office for a little while and do some writing or something on the laptop. But largely, I've just been staying home also. I've been seeing a lot of people online. So.
I do think it's amazing how many people have adapted. They've had to, and they've just done it.
Well, I'm really excited about it because there's been a lot of resistance in the world of hypnosis to seeing clients online. And now that hypnotists are forced to adapt, they've actually learned from experience that it is possible to benefit people online. You know, I've always worked with a different type of client online than I have in my office. And so, you know, I think it gives you an opportunity to just do things differently. But the clients who I work with online love working with me online. I've worked with people all over the world, and it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. So did you put the link for your self-hypnosis one?
Yeah, it's up there somewhere in the previous. I'll post it again. But there it is. That's the link for the Tuesday class, which is your Wednesday class probably.
Oh, there's just a question here about, are you doing anything different?
So, you know, I find that with Zoom, the only real thing you need to do is tell people, make sure your dog is in the other room, and I need to make sure my dog is in the other room. You know, otherwise you get, you know, it's easy to get distracted here. It's not easy to get distracted in the office. So turn off Facebook, turn off your phone, turn off the other windows that are asking for your attention, other messaging services and those sorts of things. Now let's go ahead and begin. But otherwise, the experience, you know, I never, people love the Dave Allman induction. If you love that induction, great. I'm not don't do touchy inductions. I don't actually need to be in the same room with my client. So, you know, it's worked out real well. I don't seem to get online. I don't have smokers. Smokers want to come see me in my office, right? I do a lot of stop smoking in person. I think the clients are less confident about doing it online and just aren't interested. But I see a lot more anxiety online than I do in my office because people aren't anxious about coming over to another part of town. They're comfortable seeing somebody online. And hypnosis is a great tool for working with anxious clients.
That's a good selling point too, because there are people that won't, so it's just opened it up. That's pretty cool.
Awesome. Well,
Can I
thanks
ask a
for the
question?
time. What? Oh yeah, go
Can I
ahead.
ask
So
a question? What would your advice be? I'm a highly suggestible person, and I'm finding,
we all are.
yeah, well, I'm finding everything that's going on really difficult to deal with. And sorry, what would your advice be?
My advice
Kind of
would
block it out.
anytime you find anything difficult, it doesn't matter if it's this COVID-19 or if it's finances and a stressful period in life or anything else, stop. Take 3 breaths, count those 3 breaths. Give yourself a hug, right? It might feel silly, but it's great. Close your eyes and just breathe for 1 minute and pay attention to the breath. The art of mindfulness is about, we don't have to try to stop thinking. We don't have to try to stop having an anxiety or depression. We don't have to stop having a sensation or a feeling. But it's about recognizing that we can just have a thought, a feeling, or a sensation without having to become a part of it. And so we use it as a cue just to return our attention back to the breath. And no matter what else is going on, as long as I'm breathing, I'm actually okay. And mindfulness is a proven strategy for dealing with trauma. I think that without a doubt, this whole experience that we're all sharing is an experience that is traumatic. And it's a trauma that is, you know, it's, I don't know what it is. It's like a slow, horrible, lingering death, rather than just like a quick car accident or plane crash, right? I mean, the whole thing is still unfolding, and I don't see where there's good news in any of this. I mean, there are some good news is here and there, but as a whole, the world's in a whole lot of trouble. But guess what? I don't have to follow those thoughts. Right now, I just have to breathe. And as long as I breathe, I'm actually okay. You know, I was a little fearful because I heard in the news, and if it's on the news, it's probably fake. But, you know, meat shortages in the USA. Well, I hadn't been to the store in a couple of weeks. So I thought, well, I should probably go to the store and get the last of the meat. And I walked in, it turned out it's completely well stocked. They had everything you could ever imagine. Some of it was on sale, you know. But you know, I had built up this anxiety. Well, I better get to the store, you know, because the headline says meat shortages all over the USA. Turns out it might be all over the USA, but it's not my store. And even if there is a meat shortage in the USA, well, good. It's healthier to eat nutrient-dense foods and be a vegan anyway. So, you know, as long as there's something to eat, I'm actually okay, even if it's not what I typically would eat.
Yeah, sorry.
What I would say to anyone is just take 3 breaths, 2 hands, and 1 minute. And at the end of 1 minute, you might not have solved all of the world's problems, but for 1 minute, you were okay. And if you string enough 1 minutes together, we're all going to get through this on the other side. Okay. Karen.
Karen, were you going to say something?
Oh, yeah, actually, along the same lines as Sophie, I think that right now, pretty much most places in the world, we're very much in the thick of, you know, COVID-19. And as much as in New Zealand, I think everyone's taken a bit of a deep breath and thought there's some degree of light at the end of the tunnel, possibly for us with the numbers. But there's certainly this whole sort of residue of stress and going through the community. And I'm not sure that as much as they say that COVID-19 may have possibly kind of peaked and is going down in New Zealand. I don't think the anxiety is, because there's going to be so many ongoing effects with the economy and home and work and school situations. And I can see that there's going to be quite an increase of people that have got what I guess we call it in a very broad sense, you know, stress and anxiety. But it's really hard for people to get their heads around sometimes what they're actually feeling. We kind of give it this genetic term of stress and anxiety, but to be actually go deeper, both as therapists as well as individual people, because I think we're going to possibly find quite an influx of maybe clients, if not a huge amount of need in the community as a whole, when people try to get back into some normality of life. And it's going to be traumatic to do that. Yeah, I just wondered if there's any suggestions. I love that 1 minute one that you've given. I've been doing a lot of research and a lot of study through this time to learn a whole bunch of like techniques that are short that can help people with that. So I really appreciated that whole 1 minute technique. But is there anything with all of the years of experience and wisdom that you would have accumulated in your practice and that you could share with us, both as therapists and individuals?
Yeah, I think training the world in mindfulness is really essential. It's really important. Mindfulness is all about living our best life in this present moment. You know, it was the words of the great Master Oogway that profoundly impacted me. He said, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, all we have is the present, and that's why it's a gift. And the great Master Oogway, for those who might not remember, is of course the turtle from Kung Fu Panda. And the research shows that mindfulness, you can type into scholar.google.com, type in mindfulness outcomes, mindfulness research, and you'll see that it has the ability to transform leadership. It has the ability to transform emotions, depression, anxiety, the ability to transfer ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. Children who are taught mindfulness become more resilient. They get better grades. They have greater levels of academic success. And I think that you know, the COVID-19 thing is horrible. You know, there's nobody who wishes that it happened and nobody who's going to benefit from it, you know, at least at the surface. But on the other side, the value of mindfulness, I think, will be taught. For businesses that are going to be successful, they're going to have to mindfully harness the power of now to create lasting transformation in their business. So mindfulness, whether it's business or personal life, our emotional life, is a strategy and a skill that's like hypnosis is well researched, and truly the strategy that's probably going to be most beneficial to us. The other thing people sometimes say, well, is meditation and hypnosis the same thing or different? They're the same thing. You know, hypnosis is a big tent word. There's a lot of stuff underneath it. Meditation is a big tent word. There's a lot of stuff underneath it. You know, I've heard somebody say it's two sides of the same coin. I just use the words interchangeably. And mindfulness is a great strategy, a skill that can be taught to people in hypnosis. And, you know, I can't think of anything more effective. And what I do know is the people who practice mindfulness, and mindfulness requires practice. There's so many people sell hypnosis with, oh, come to me and I'll do 5 minutes, the super fantastic 5-step process. You'll never have this or that ever again. I think that's unrealistic. You know, you know, people want to come back. They want a second session or a third session. They want to be with somebody who cares about them. There's no reason to be in a hurry, because when we practice self-hypnosis or we practice meditation, then life becomes a meditation, or life becomes hypnotic, and it's just a much better way of living. And so taking the time to actually teach these skills, practice, rehearse, follow up, you know, having multiple sessions with clients. You know, I don't do single sessions with anybody, not even smokers. I mean, my smokers leave the first session a non-smoker, but I schedule a second session 2 or 3 days later before they leave my office, because I want to follow up with them. I want them to have that space. And smoking for 30 years, coming back 3 times, you know, in 3 weeks isn't, you know, is really nothing. So, you know, take the time with people. Don't buy into the myth of the internet course salesman that, you know, well, you only need to learn this and you can fix anything in 5 minutes, you know, the 6-second phobia process or whatever it is. If your phobic clients have spent so much time with their phobia, they need some time with their solution, and it's okay for them to come back every week for 6 weeks or for 6 months. Doesn't really matter. It's going to help them a lot. Too often we're impatient. That's what the problem with the rapid inductions is. We want to get through it to get to the good stuff. Just if all we ever did was hit induction, deepener, and reorientation, 99% of our clients would benefit and think the whole thing was awesome. Forget about all the other processes. You're muted, Justine, so I can see your lips moving, but I can't hear you.
It's not true. So yeah, thank you for coming, Richard, today.
Sure. Well, it's been good seeing everybody here. For those who I haven't met, come to Las Vegas and hang out, or maybe I'll come to New Zealand sometime.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's good having everybody here. You can always find me on Facebook. Send me a message anytime. I'm pretty responsive and usually around. So thank you very much, everybody. Good to see everybody.
Awesome.
All right, bye-bye.
Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye.
We're going to go to the park with the Golden Doodle.
Oh, cool.
So what we've been doing every day is walking in the park.
Yeah.
Thanks, Richard.
It's
For 2
good.
hours.
Thank you.
I know.
Awesome. I'll see you later. Hey, I'll see everybody.